Hi, friends. So, listen, I was just going to post this on my Brie Birch True Crime and Crochet channel, but there are aspects of this case that I want to talk about that really tie in to spirituality. And so I thought that y'all might enjoy hearing about this missing person case. And so we're going to talk about Maureen Kelly today. It is local to me here in the Pacific Northwest. So yeah, let's dive in and talk about it. So for my missing person series, I've decided that I'm going to call this series Unsolved and Untamed. It may eventually be a podcast, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, so the purpose of this series is I want to dive into like strange vanishings, 411, missing 411. If you know what that is, comment down below. I would love to have some friends in this arena. But we're going to talk about unsolved cases, and we're going to talk about wild mysteries that refuse to be forgotten, okay? So today's episode is about Maureen, and I'm probably going to butcher this, Kelly. She's better known as Anu. She's just beautiful, right? She was a young woman with a spiritual calling, a ukulele, and a plan to walk into the forest naked. And she never returned. But now, more than a decade later, she went missing in 2013. Something has changed. And her story may finally be nearing an answer, which would be really wonderful for the family. So who was she? Maureen Kelly, she was born on September 26, 1993. She had Pacific Islander heritage, and she was raised by her single mother, Mapuana, in Vancouver, Washington, just over the river from me. I live and work in Portland. So friends described Anu as creative, sensitive, free-spirited. She graduated from Lewis and Clark High School, and she dreamed of becoming a singer-songwriter. And she had a YouTube channel where she was always sharing her ukulele videos. She actually uploaded a video 2 days before she went missing. Sherry Kaupu, her half-sister, and again, I apologize if I am mispronouncing, her half-sister called her a very laid-back, carefree girl. Okay, so before her disappearance, Maureen called her half-sister to ask if she could borrow some camping gear. And while friends say they weren't surprised she went into the forest, they were concerned that she went alone and sans clothing, literally naked. So basically, she's just this wonderful, creative, free-spirited girl, just 19, so young. So let's talk about the actual disappearance. June 9th, 2013, Maureen was camping with friends in the Gifford Pinchot National Forest in Washington State. That night, she told them she was going on a spiritual quest. Now, I've done a lot of research on this, and finding any backstory on her was really difficult. Also, I was really curious, like, was she on something, you know? And I've seen some reports, but literally like on Reddit, like nothing reputable. I was looking to see if she was on a psychedelic or, you know, if she was having a good fun time out there in the woods. Some say yes, some say no. We honestly don't know if she was under the influence of something. Anyway, so she strips off her clothes, including her shoes, and she walked into the forest wearing literally nothing but a fanny pack. She said that she wanted to live off the land and she wanted to have a true blue spiritual quest. She was never seen again. Friends called authorities that night. Okay, so it wasn't like this was like 3 days later or anything, so good for them. They had search and rescue teams, they had helicopters, they had thermal imaging, and tracking dogs were all deployed. The dogs were able to follow her scent for about half a mile until it disappeared at a creek bed, okay? There were no signs of struggle, obviously no clothing, no fanny pack, no belongings, literally zero trace. It was almost like the forest had literally swallowed her. Now, it's been over 10 years, right? It's 15 years now. And so over the years, some theories have stacked up. Most people, including the police, they believe that she passed away from exposure or hypothermia. She was naked. She was unprepared and alone in the wild. It's plausible. But my thing is, no remains were ever found, and she went so far that her friends couldn't hear her even when they went looking for her that night. Really? Was it an animal attack? Possible, but again, there was no blood. There was no drag marks, no disturbance, right? Did she fall or did she drown? A ravine, a hidden crevice? Maybe, but the area has been combed repeatedly for years. Was it an intentional disappearance? Very unlikely. Maureen was 19. She loved her family, and she didn't have the skills to live indefinitely off-grid. So here's where it gets interesting to me. Was it something else? Because this case fits the eerie patterns of the missing 411 disappearances, and we can talk about that in other episodes if you want. But that includes sudden vanishings, literally plucked, okay? No evidence, and lost near water. I mean, so that all started happening, her disappearance in 2013, okay? So now let's fast forward, August 2024. That's when everything changed, because human remains were discovered in the Gifford Pinchot National Forest, not far from where Maureen had disappeared. Investigators believe that the remains probably most likely belonged to her. There is another guy that went missing around the same time that they believe, he also is a contender for these remains. But from what I've read, they're really, really thinking that this is Maureen. DNA testing is underway, but it's been over a year now, close to over a year, I should say. And I'm like, where's the update? Anyway, so for the first time in over a decade, there may actually be some closure. Anu's story is one of spiritual longing. I think all of us here on this channel have been there, right? The spiritual longing. Probably a proclivity for wilderness mystery and haunting silence, And so if these remains are confirmed to be hers, it marks the end of a chapter that's gripped my home, the Pacific Northwest, for over 10 years. And if not, the forest may be still holding its secrets, as it often does. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with me today. Thanks for coming along with me on this first episode of Unsolved and Untamed. Do all the things. Follow, subscribe, share, leave a review if this story ever moved you. And hey, if you've ever walked those forest paths, share your story. You never know what might still be out there, or maybe someone can validate your experience as well. So, yeah. Anyway, let's hope that her remains have been found so that the family can have some closure. And yeah, wherever she is, I hope she's resting in peace. I'll talk to you soon.